My name is Ms. Kat and I am the French teacher at DCA, and I would like to just take a little bit of time and speak with parents, hence my use of English for this video, just for the sake of universal comprehension, about what you can expect with French this week and some ways that you can implement some educational resources, namely flashcards, into your French time. One of my favorite things about French is that as a language experience, it is immersive, which means that it is really easy to take it out of that conventional desk and chair classroom environment. If anything, I find it easier to take it out of the classroom and into an exploratory or an outdoor group activity, because that interest-led learning for students really gets them eager to connect those dots in French and to be interacting interpersonally. And French as a language is oral, it is interpersonal, and functional French is French we can take outside the classroom. So I am very confident that French at home this week will be successful and hopefully a highlight for you guys. I know that we have very diverse backgrounds with French, and we have some parents that are truly going to be learning French with their students at home this week, which I actually find to be a really exciting concept, and I have seen the children, their zeal for bouncing their French knowledge and terminology off of their peers and family members. So I have no doubt that they are going to be little teachers of their own this week. I sent home refresher packs, and those contain material and vocabulary that is largely familiar to your student. They are tailored by grade, but they are terminology, themes that we have used a lot already in our class. And because French can be prone to some rustiness when we haven't used it, the intent for this week is to refamiliarize your child with that vocabulary and to boost their confidence so that when we resume classes together at DCA, they are ready to go and to resume. My goal at DCA is for French to be a vibrant subject for a vibrant student body. And that means that I really like, wherever possible, to engage them kinesthetically, orally, artistically, competitively, wherever possible. That being said, traditional educational resources, when used creatively, still keep up that interest-led and tactile learning. Flashcards, most people are familiar with them. At face value, they can kind of come off as a little bland. And once we get through that conventional review a few times and maybe the thrill of a speed drill or two, they can be quite tedious to get children through. And I find it imperative that children are enthusiastic about how they're learning because it helps them retain what they are learning. So we have to get a little bit creative about how we use these flashcards. I especially love flashcards for parents learning at home because they are less daunting. It is not a large vocabulary list. It's not a chart. It's not a huge activity. They have built-in answer key. They have translation on the back. So that already is a win for parents and a win for kids. French can be a little bit daunting to some. And when you present a large activity, a large vocabulary list, especially where you have a large group where some children are very confident in zooming through, it can be really daunting to other students. And flashcards are great because they extract word per word, one word at a time. And for children that have performance anxiety and really seek to be spot on with their French all of the time, or with any subject, that perfectionist type, these are really wonderful because if they aren't confident about that answer, they're a little bit concerned, they can really discreetly just look at the answer, they get their memory jogged, and then educator, parent, teacher, just pop it in the back of the deck and it rolls back around when we're using them in conventional review. So I really appreciate that about our flashcards. I also really like them because we can use them in games. And there are a couple that I use often in our class that will work really well at home with small group activities, so sibling groups, parent-child, or individually. One of the ones that I really like to use is a memory game. So I will write out 2 copies, one-sided or double-sided, and go either way. You can use them as a matching game. I'm just looking through my numbers here to find a good example. Here we go, decent dis. So 10 and 10. You can pop these just grid style. I would set them on my table in front of me right now, but then you wouldn't be able to see them. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to demonstrate. You're going to pop them grid style and they could match them this way. If you have one-sided copies, you could have a blank side down and they have to flip over and match. You can do that parent-child, in a sibling group, or individually. Even individually, I find that game requires minimal supervision. What I say to children often is, say it loud and proud. I want them to pronounce that word loudly, and then as I'm circulating, I can hear it going on. I can hear those dots connecting, and I'm able to assess and gauge really efficiently whether they're retaining how to say that word and what that word means, depending on the way in which you're carrying that out. Another game I really like with our flashcards, grid style like that, is a treat game. And before concerns about things like community transmission, if I was aware of food sensitivities in a smaller group or lack thereof, I could pick a specific treat, a raisin, an M&M. You likely know your child's favorite, something that's discreet you can kind of tuck under the card, and you lay them out grid style, and the child will see. So here's an example set. They would have to know that that means 7. They'd flip it over, and if they get it right, they get the card and they get the treat. That one I find provides a lot of incentive for them to keep going through their vocabulary, and those dots connect pretty quickly. Another one that I really like for our kinesthetic learners, our really hands-on, busy little guys, is a game called montre-moi, show me, or donne-moi, give me. Those are verbs that we use a lot in the classroom, so they are familiar with that command. But donne-moi is a game, again, grid style, and you want them to give you the translation of the word. So in this case, if I was using, let me pull out some colors and we'll do with that. Here's jaune. Jaune means yellow. If I say show me yellow, I need for them to read the word, to say it, so they need to identify it, they need to read it, they need to say it, and they get to whack it. And I give them a fly swatter, I've given spatulas in the past, and they get to whack the flashcard, and if they get the translation right, they get to keep the card. And in a group activity, the goal is for them to have as many cards as possible, and that's the winner. If you choose to identify one, or individually, it's a way to keep those busy guys really engaged and getting through the activity, because it's tactile, it's hands-on, and it's something that they typically don't get to do during school, right? They get to give something a really good whack. I have seen that be an activity that goes over really, really well. They tackle the flashcards with fervor when you give them the opportunity to whack them or tackle them literally. Another thing about flashcards is really nice for parents who aren't as necessarily confident or familiar themselves with French, is that you can be really strategic about how you deliver these. So in this case, here's a number, you could say 3. They need to give you the French translation of that, and they are familiar with how I would say that. I say it with joie, our Québécois French. They're going to flip it over, they're saying it trois. You're going to hear how that sounds. They're going to enunciate it properly. And if they need any additional guidance, you now have that word and how it's pronounced. When you do it in reverse, if you said, show me trois, then they flip it and they can say 3. I really like that about flashcards. They're really versatile. They can use them in a lot of different ways, and they store really well. So I hope that they are a useful tool for you this week. As you tackle your refresher pack with your child, I would ask that you take particular note to see what area they're most keen on. There's a few different sets of vocabulary in each refresher pack, and each child is naturally going to be a little more keen or gravitate towards a particular set list. And I would encourage you to use those words on an interest-led basis as much as is possible outside of your French time. If it is terminology that they are naturally more interested in, they're going to use it much more enthusiastically. And then the area that you see that they need most of a boost in, wherever it feels newer to them, or an area that they feel a little bit rustier and a little less confident, those are the ones that I would really like you to use in the form of flashcards, because the opportunity for it to be game means that you're likely going to review that more with them, and they are going to feel less intimidated by the terminology and inadvertently get more of it and get that confidence back as we head back to class. I hope that this video has been helpful for you, and I really look forward to hearing how your week goes and to assist you as necessary. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.